Hi. So today we are going to try to understand the epithelial tissues. Now, if just for a recap, we know that there are four type of tissues. We have epithelial, connective, muscular, and nervous. So epithelial tissue is one of those types. So in this video, we are going to talk about the general features and the types of epithelial tissues on the basis of shape and number of layers, and finally their location and function of each type. Right? So whenever you look at epithelial tissues, they can have one or more number of layer of cells. So you can add one more layer if you want, but sorry. Yeah, so there can be one or more layer of number of cells, but there will always beneath the cells, there will be a basement membrane. So a basement membrane is acellular. That means it's not of cells. The basal lamina, the first part of the basal membrane, is made up of glycoproteins, whereas the second part is protein. So these kind of form a filter of the substances that will be fusing from beneath. So the blood vessels are beneath it, so the glucose or the oxygen, whatever needs to reach these cells, will be diffusing across always. Now let's talk about what are the various functions that we can attribute to the epithelial tissues. Now epithelial tissues mostly cover the outermost and the innermost surface, and that is why their most important job becomes protection. So they protect. So on the outermost layer they are going to protect us, whereas innermost layers, they are going to absorb substances or secrete substances. So if you look at this, so we have protection, we have absorption, and we have secretion. Three important functions are very visible from the very general description of this. Now besides this, you should also know that epithelial tissue, because they have a lot of glands, they may also function to excrete substances like water and salts and some other stuff. Now besides, we should also remember that epithelial tissues have a very good capacity of regeneration. Because they face maximum wear and tear, they have a good capacity of regeneration. Also they are avascular, right? Like we just said that all nutrients need to diffuse in. Let's quickly jump to types of epithelial tissues. So we divide the epithelial tissues on the basis of the shape of cells or all the number of layers. Right, now let's first try to understand layers. A number of layers is very simple actually. You can have simple epithelial tissues, that means just one layer, or you can have stratified epithelial tissues, that means more than one layer of cells. Now there is another that is called pseudo stratified. Now pseudo stratified simply means that the cell is just one layer. Pseudo means false, it means false number of layers. It looks as if the cells have different, there are more than one number of cells, but because of their different shapes and the nuclei position is very different, it appears as if they are different layers, but they are just one. Now if you talk about the shapes, they are also of three kinds. You call them squamous, cuboidal, and columnar. Now squamous means plate-like cells, right? Plate-like cells. Cuboidal means, as the name itself suggests, cube-like cells. Columnar means they will be more long in height than in width, right? So cuboidal will have nucleus in the center, squamous will have nucleus in the center, columnar will have nucleus towards a bit on the lower side. So this is how you divide. Now what you have to understand is all these three categories can either be simple They can be simple squamous, simple cuboidal, or simple columnar, or all these categories can be stratified as well. Now you find pseudo stratified in columnar. Let us try to understand them one by one. So squamous epithelium, simple or stratified. Now simple would be where in your alveoli. So where is alveoli? Stratified would be where skin, because it's maximum wear and tear, right? You need maximum regeneration. Now, what is the purpose at alveoli? You know gaseous exchange. So let's just write exchange, whereas on skin the purpose is protection, right? So it's very easily understood. Squamous is simple or stratified. The location and the purpose must be very clear. Now let us talk about cuboidal. Now when again cuboidal, simple and stratified, the difference should be very clear by now. Now where do you find simple stratified? First of all, in kidney tubules. They will be found a lot in kidney tubules. And what would be the function there? In the kidney tubules, they do a lot of secretory jobs there. That means secretion and absorption. Now, stratified cuboidal or stratified columnar is very less, right? So, stratified cuboidal can be found in the larger glands of your body, but again, and there also they will it's basically just two layers, not even more than two, just two layers. So you find them in sweat glands, you find them in mammary glands, right? And you know what they are going to do is they are going to secrete stuff. Easy, right? Now we come to the third and the last one, that is columnar, and the name itself is very clear that they are longer, right? Now first of all, where you'll find them. So columnar is found on in intestine. Now to make things more interesting, columnar can actually be modified in two ways. First is secretion. They may secrete a lot of substances uh, in various ways. The other popular modification is that their surface can have these finger-like projections, which you called as microvilli. So what does microvilli do? It increases the surface area for absorption. That's the advantage. And now you can relate actually why they are found in plenty in intestine, because they have to absorb a lot of substances, and they can also they can also have cilia. That is another modification that they have. Generally they may be ciliated as well. Now ciliated can be columnar, because we are talking about columnar, or you can also have pseudo stratified pseudo stratified columnar can also have the cilia. Now where is this happening? This happens in some parts of your trachea. So this propels the mucus. This propels the mucus in your respiratory tract. Okay. In intestine, what's the job? The job is to absorb as much as of digested food that's possible. Now, if you talk about the stratified columnar, again, it's a bit rare in your body, and it would be found in to some extent in your pharynx, or in some cases to some other glandular ducts, right? So it's relatively very limited found in your body, and the function is the same, that it will have some absorption or secretion role. So I hope things are clear to you. So if I were to summarize everything that I covered in today's video, so we started with epithelium. We understood that it's always will be a cell and the basement membrane. Then we talked about the types on the basis of number of layers and the shape of cells. Then we did simple, we did stratified, and we did pseudo stratified. Shapes in there we did squamous, we did cuboidal, and we did columnar. And we understood the functions and locations of each of these.
If you're looking for similar topics, check out our other videos and don't forget to subscribe.